A little after 3 in the morning at JFK Airport, the night crew for Lufthansa Airlines goes for their meal break. After they sit down, masked gunmen storm in, demanding everyone get down. A few minutes later, more employees are brought in, except for one who's taken to the cargo terminal to open the safe. When he returns, the armed assailants warn them not to call the police until 15 minutes after they leave. When time is up, they check the vault to see the damage. The $8 million cash haul is all gone. They just took part in the largest cash robbery in American history. And it all went down because an airport worker got in too deep on his gambling debts.
Welcome to Heist Club, where we've got a new heist story coming at you each week. We're here to uncover the details behind some of the most audacious and ridiculous robberies of all time. How they pulled it off, how they got caught, and the mysteries that remain. Bank heists, art heists, diamond heists, and other capers you won't believe. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Todd.
Welcome to the club.
Hello, Heist Clubbers. Welcome back to the Heist Clubhouse. We are here for the final movie of our movie month, our first annual. It's not an annual because we've never done it before.
It could be first annual. They don't know. I don't know.
Or we have done it before, we just never released it. You know, Jesse and I always just talk about.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 5 years, but we never told anyone.
We forgot to turn the mics on.
We never
recorded. Finally did. So it's the 5th annual movie month, but the first for you.
Exactly. That's it. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Happy 5th anniversary. I got you silver or pearl, whatever the 5th is.
Thank you. I got you an Oscar.
Oh, I'll take that.
Speaking of Oscars.
Speaking of the Oscars, that's right. You know what? Before we get into this week's episode, let's talk about the Oscars. They were just a few days ago, just Sunday night. And I know you threw a big old party. How did the party go?
I did. It was awesome. There was a lot of people there. It was a big Sinners crowd. A lot of love for Sinners. Everyone freaked out when the Sinners won anything.
A lot of Sinners fans. Okay, that's fun. More than one battle, I'm guessing, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
The rival of the night.
Right. Yeah. But it was fun. It was a good time.
So wait, were the Sinners fans happy? Because Sinners had a good night, just not as good of a night as possible.
They were happy until the end of the night.
Oh, they really wanted Best Picture and they didn't get Best Picture, so a disappointment.
Right, exactly. Or Best Director, and
Did you dress up? Did anyone dress up?
Yes, there were some really good costumes. There was a couple Marty Supremes. There was a couple, someone brought a whole acoustic guitar for the Sinners costume.
That's something.
Yeah, that's something. Someone was a train conductor for Train Dreams.
Aw.
I like that a lot. My favorite one, I can't. So in Sentimental Value, which I finally watched, someone had a little blonde wig, and he was the son.
He was the son,
and he brought DVDs of Irreversible, and I can't remember what the other DVD was, but the DVD, the messed up movies that Stellan Skarsgård gives him, he had those DVDs.
That is fantastic. That is creative.
Right? Yeah, that's really good. I liked the creativity of that one.
They should bring that back for Halloween next year. No, I guess this year. Sorry. No one will get it, but I will appreciate the specificity of that costume.
Yeah, I thought I would see at least one Bob from one battle, but I did not.
Yeah, there were a lot. I mean, I think we talked about before in the podcast. I remember in my neighborhood, there were a bunch of Bobs for Halloween.
That's fun.
So maybe they just moved on. Or maybe they knew it was going to be a pro Sinners crowd and they just didn't want to bring too much Bob to the party.
Yeah, too much Bob in this party. That's funny.
Well, you did send me video of, I forget which award was it.
It was Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, it's Michael B. Jordan's win. That's right. It was a nice size space and it just looked like a fun way to watch versus, 7 o'clock Eastern is a tough time for when you're also putting the kids to bed. So I tried to put it on while the kids were still awake before they went to bed. And they weren't eating dinner, so it just became a thing. So I definitely was not watching live, and eventually it was like mostly watching on my phone in my bed with my wife next to me while we were waiting for the kids to go to sleep. Then eventually we came downstairs and watched the rest on a delay. So actually Amy Madigan's win was the only win that was spoiled for me. Otherwise I avoided all the spoilers, just like didn't look at my phone for hours, which was a nice feeling. I could just
Oh, that's cool. Good for you. I would have not done that. I would have been doing live updates if I wasn't available. We can start with that. I was honestly very surprised about Amy Madigan winning. I did not know that was going to happen at all.
I was not surprised based on the predictions I saw. If you would have asked me a few months ago, I'd be shocked, right? Because we thought, oh, even to get a nomination, how cool would that be for, I mean, Sinners is obviously also a horror movie, but I would say Weapons is a little bit more of a traditional horror movie in many ways, even though not traditional either. So for her to even get nominated, gigantic, and to win, it's pretty incredible. I thought it was a great speech. I mean, she was flummoxed, right? She kept saying, I'm flummoxed. It was very heartfelt. That laugh she had at the beginning and the very sweet thank you to Ed Harris, who looks like such a proud husband right there. So I was really happy for her. And I'm not sure I really had any complaints overall about like, oh no, they didn't deserve it. I felt like every winner was deserving. I would also say I found, based on early predictions, I found most of them to be predictable, and that's not the most exciting version of things, but so many of the races were close that you didn't know for sure. Like Sinners for Best Picture or One Battle for Best Picture. I thought One Battle was going to win, but if Sinners won, I would not have been surprised either, and I was happy either way. The biggest surprise to me was Sinners for cinematography, and that was cool. First female winner for cinematography.
Yeah, that was great.
She was cool. I love the way she was dressed too. And I had no problem with that winning, and I just thought One Battle was going to, and that was a cool speech, and having all the women stand up in the crowd, it was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not surprised about Jesse Buckley, but I was really excited. I've been a fan of hers for a while. Same with Michael B. Jordan. I've loved him since forever, so it's really cool to see him get an Oscar.
Yeah, and he was obviously so emotionally affected, and it was just so cool to see him taking it all in.
Yeah,
and the reaction. Clearly, the crowd. I mean, in the end, it was very clear that people did not want Chalamet to win. They did want Michael B. Jordan to win. But Michael B. Jordan deserved it anyway, so who cares?
Right, yeah.
So it was nice to see, like, the crowd was just so happy for Michael B. Jordan. But Chalamet gave nice applause, too. He didn't look like he was mad or anything. He handled it well.
I think he knew what he was getting into that night.
Yeah, he knew.
Yeah.
He laughed at the Conan jokes about, opera and ballet. He had to be game. I don't think he won any fans back enough from it, but
right.
he at least got it. He at least got it.
I made two little predictions that ended up coming true, which that was fun. I was like, I have a feeling that Murder Supreme is not going to win anything.
Yep.
And I think Sean Penn is going to win, and he's not going to be there.
Yeah, that's so disappointing. It's really stinks when a winner is there and does not give a speech. Because you also imagine, I mean, there were a lot of political speeches, which I had no problem with. I feel like the Grammys and the Emmys, there was like a lot less or very little. So I had no problem with that. But Sean would have really gone to town. That's for sure. I didn't mind Kieran Culkin's I'm sorry, Sean Penn could not be here or did not want to be here, which is, I don't even think it's a dig. I just think that's accurate. Like, he openly did not want to be there, and I think he's in the Ukraine or something, right? Like, he had other things to do in the world, and that was his priority, and that's what you get when you honor Sean Penn instead of one of the other actors who could have probably given a great speech. If we go to my highlight, I thought the Sinners I Lied to You performance was like the highlight of the whole night. To bring that song to life in a way akin to the movie, I thought it lifted me up the same way. Because I love Golden. I love K-pop Demon Hunters. My kids listen to it all the time. A little bit less, but they still listen to it a lot. And it was a fine performance. It was fun, but it wasn't. We've also seen them play that song in multiple shows now, so it's not the same. But to see them do that and to have all the guests come on stage, I mean, it was obviously to see Shabuzi, Brittany Howard, and then the Misty Copeland ending. I just thought it felt really truly special in a way that the movie did too.
Yeah. That montage in segment is so amazing in the movie, and they did it, and it was great. It was so cool.
It was really nice. That, and I did think they pulled off the in memoriam tributes well as well.
I really liked that. They spent the time with it, and I loved it.
They did not rush through any of it. There were a lot of major people we lost in the last year, and they were able to honor them. The only thing I felt bad about is I was like, oh, is Robert Duvall going to get one too? And he did not, because I know he may not be completely on the same level as Redford, and obviously Reiner even more so because of how we lost him. But Duvall would have gotten one in another year, right? If it was a different year, you could have seen someone else up there. You could have seen, I don't know, Bob Thornton come up there, or whoever it might be, thanking him and appreciating him, and we didn't get that. So I did.
Right. He
was one of the last ones. He wasn't completely forgotten, but he didn't get the same treatment as some of the others.
Yeah.
Well, even Catherine O'Hara could say the same thing, right? Catherine O'Hara got a little bit. She got a little bit of the Diane Keaton speech, but not the full thing. So a different year, Catherine O'Hara and Robert Duvall get the full Monty, if you would.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else. I was not familiar with the documentary feature that won. I was like, okay, I have not heard this one yet.
I mean, it was a great speech. I thought the speech was powerful. It was not, I mean, obviously I wanted Alabama Solution to win. It became clear in the last couple of weeks it wasn't going to. It seems like it wasn't the favorite in the end, but I think Perfect Neighbor people thought was going to win. And in the end,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mission Nobody versus Putin, which, okay, important. And I've heard it's good. I've heard it's not as good as some of the others, but that was a great speech. And I thought, the best speeches we had were basically that, and also the All the Empty Rooms speech with the mom of the daughter who was killed in Uvalde. Those were very powerful. Those were great speeches, and those are great moments.
Yeah.
And we needed them because I thought in general, the presenter banter was quite poor and so cliche.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty, nothing to write home about.
No. And I love Conan. He had his moments, but overall, not as good as last year for Conan either.
Yeah. I guess you're right. I liked it though, but I kind of like everything he does.
Yeah. I mean, I love him anyway. And it was more like the awkward stuff in the middle I liked the most. But the monologue was fine. And I know we talked about the running through with the kids, like weapons, but it felt a little Billy Crystal-ish to me. Like, I'm going to put myself in all these movies that happened in the last year.
Right. Yeah.
Just a little basic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Kind of silly.
Well, the Oscars are over. The Oscar season is over, but movie month is not over for Heist Club. So let's do Goodfellas. It's an epic movie. It's an epic heist. So epic. We're going to do it in 2 parts. First ever 2-parter. We did a couple other movies, obviously, as part of movie month, and neither of those got nominations, let alone wins. So it's nice to end our movie month with Goodfellas, which got lots of noms, so many noms, and got a win for Joe Pesci. Goodfellas is remembered for many, many things. Joe Pesci's performance, camera work, the long tracking shot of the Copacabana, but also details what was at the time the largest cash heist in U.S. history and the gory tale that follows. All the murder.
All the bang bang. All the...
You were involved. You're going down. You were involved. You're going down. Everybody gets a bullet.
So much of the most violent scenes are not gunshot related. There's some brutal stuff in there, man.
Well, I mean, being hit to the face with a gun over and over and over is much more brutal than just a couple shots to the back of the head.
Right, exactly.
In my professional opinion.
I mean, in the first 30 seconds of the movie, there's like a stabbing. It's insanely violent.
Yeah. And a lot of voiceover in those first 30 seconds. And those first 20 minutes, a lot of voiceover. Actually, the whole movie is a lot of voiceover.
It's a lot of voiceover.
Yeah,
You're right.
That is the movie. It is voiceover, freeze frames, and then a little bit of a movie in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if most people think of Goodfellas as a heist movie. They just think of it as like, oh, it's a mobster movie. But like, you do have one heist alluded to in the middle, and then a much bigger heist later, and then the fallout of that really becomes, the gory tale that takes over the movie for the rest of it. So,
yeah, I'm glad we're digging into this because the movie just it all happens off screen, and I mean it sets up the ending of the movie, but there's so much more details to get into in the heist proper.
Yeah, I mean, has Scorsese done a proper heist movie? I say that in the sense of like, you're right, you don't see it. The planning is more alluded to. All of a sudden, the guy knows something, and they're gonna divvy it up. But here we are, New York City, the 1970s, and the mafia really go hand in hand. The 5 families run their own share of the city and perpetrate most of the major crimes. The FBI and the New York City DA's office finally fight back, though. The creation of the Witness Protection Program, the RICO Act, and the implementation of wiretapping put some heavy mob hitters behind bars, such as the Genovese boss, Frank Thierry, and Captain Mike Clemente. It's kind of crazy to think of the time before wiretapping,
Yeah, and that's a new thing. Yeah.
Obviously it exists. You watch all the Jimmy Cagney movies in the 30s and there's no wiretapping, but it's just synonymous with, with crime stories and with The Wire on HBO.
I know, yeah. The Wire is kind of funny to go back and watch. Like, yeah, we're doing this new thing.
We got permission. We're gonna tag that car and follow it around town. All these things, yes. So, and even though law enforcement managed to land some punches, the 5 families do continue to hold their power, from drug running to waste management. Waste management, as we know from Sopranos and so many other things. But the Lufthansa robbery at JFK blows everything else out of the water. Millions in cash and jewels stolen like it was a simple stick-up. The robbery pulls in not only the FBI, but the New York Port Authority Police, the Queens District Attorney's Detective Squad, and detectives from the New York Police Department's 113th Precinct.
All right, so let's meet one of our main characters.
Jimmy the Jet Burke, played by Robert De Niro in the movie, although they changed his last name for the movie. They changed a few last names for the movie. So you'd have no idea it's based on real people. Yeah, based on a true story, and we'll get into some of the differences later. We have a picture here, and sure, I don't know. I think Jimmy the Jet Burke looks a little more like an older Irish guy than De Niro's hard-boiled Italian.
Yeah, it definitely looks more Italian. But of course, these are all just going to be more attractive actor versions of the real people.
It's not fair,
Yeah.
Fair point. And also, you can't make a Scorsese movie without De Niro, so he's got to find a role somewhere.
Exactly. He really is in so many of them.
So, Jimmy's time in the Big Apple plays out over a 30-year reign of terror. At least that's what his friends call it. Mobster Henry Hill, who is the lead in Goodfellas, but mobster Henry Hill calls him, quote, the most vicious you'd ever met in your life. He'd pat you in the back and stick a ice pick in your head. Jesse, I assume we're going to be bleeping this because we are not Scorsese and we're not going to include all of our own swearing, but...
Yeah, this isn't going to be an episode where there's a counter of how many times you say the F word.
Yeah, I mean, we really could go all the way up there if we wanted to. That's right. He chopped up his fiance's ex-boyfriend when he was, quote, giving her trouble. Jimmy once gifted an elderly woman $5,000 when her son stole from her, and then he killed the son the same day. So did she want that to happen? Stories circulate of him breaking every single bone in the face of a person who was late on a payment. He is a violent man, and you can see why Scorsese wanted to make a movie about this world and the group of characters. While mobsters of his time favor racketeering, Jimmy prefers the old way, extortion and robbery. It's said that Jimmy loves stealing so much that if you offered him $1 billion, he would not accept it and turn around and try to figure out how to steal it from you instead. Tells you a lot about his personality.
The love of the game, I guess.
The love of the game. He was born to Irish immigrants in 1931 and raised by a single mother. When he turns 2, she abandons him and he's left at the mercy of the foster system. Unsurprisingly and unfortunately, he suffers years of physical and psychological abuse from an endless conveyor belt of foster parents. So if you want a key of why he turns into the person he turns into, maybe that's a little bit part of it. Also, just being part of the mob, I think it just kind of encourages his behavior. Not kind of. It does. It encourages this behavior.
Oh, for sure.
No question about it. Jimmy spends his teen years enmeshing himself into the Italian mob and becomes particularly close with Dominic Remo Cersani, a Colombo family mobster and owner of Robert's Lounge, a restaurant on the edge of Queens. Jimmy starts off by fencing stolen goods for Remo, but soon graduates to cashing false checks. His luck with the job runs out in 1949 when he finally gets nailed for the check cashing operation. Police beat him senseless trying to get him to rat on Remo, but he refuses. His silence earns him a 5-year prison sentence, but his silence and loyalty to Remo earns him the Italian mob's respect, and they welcome him into the prison community. He works for them on the inside, like killing inmates who get on the mob chieftain's bad side, and he takes the promotion from fraudster to killer in stride. As we see in Goodfellas, sometimes being mobbed up in prison is not a bad life at all.
Right. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be pretty easy for them.
It's also like everyone gets arrested at some point. I mean, like everyone gets arrested, everyone goes to prison at some point. It's part of the life. And I wouldn't say you wish it upon yourself, but you just accept it. It's just the way things go.
Yeah, especially if you're definitely not going to rat. You'd want to serve the time in some ways.
Exactly. It's a badge of honor that way. It's like, I went to prison because I didn't rat. I didn't get out of it.
Right.
Yeah. Jimmy finishes out his sentence in 1954 with plenty of new friends. He returns to New York and immediately reports to Remo, who's overjoyed seeing his protege out of the slammer. He's so happy that he signs over the deed to Robert's Lounge. It's a nice gift. Robert's Lounge was already a popular hangout for mobsters and their associates, but Jimmy makes the restaurant his headquarters. It's a quiet sanctuary, but not for long. And Robert's Lounge, they don't call it Robert's Lounge, but the lounge is a big part of the story in Goodfellas. They're there all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That's where playing takes place. That's where celebrations take place. I don't know if do they matter-of-factly say that Jimmy owns it, though? It's almost like Henry's more involved, it almost feels like, right? It almost feels like it's more Henry's place.
Yeah, I feel like the character is skewed a little bit for the movie. Yeah, that is unclear.
Yeah. Anyway, construction on an expansion in Idlewild Airport begins right on his doorstep. The peace and quiet might be gone, but all Jimmy can see is dollar signs. His playground's expanding, and he's excited for all the goodies it will bring. For those of you who don't know New York, both airports Idlewild, which later becomes JFK, as we'll reveal soon, and LaGuardia are both in Queens. So that's where people fly in and out of the city. Let's go to Newark. You want to spend some time in Jersey for 15 minutes, then not spending more time thereafter. No offense to Jersey. While the five families set up laundering fronts and take control of the city's waste management, Jimmy decides to pursue what he's passionate about, hijacking. It's his specialty, specifically targeting trucks entering the city and the airport. And Jimmy doesn't have his cronies do the heavy lifting for him. He's right there with the rest of them, holding the driver up and unloading the trucks. He signs off by sticking a $50 bill in the driver's pocket for his troubles. That earns him the nickname, the Gent, for gentlemen, for not only tipping them after being robbed, but also for his cordial manner. It's funny. In the movie, I'm really thinking about when Henry Hill is a kid and he sees everyone just handing out the cash, and eventually he starts doing it too, right? It's like everybody gets, for every nice thing you do, you get a 20 or a 50 or 100 in your pocket.
Right.
The Gent persona goes beyond just tipping his victims $50. He's extremely generous, mostly to those who can give him a leg up. The DA, judges, and cops are all on his payroll. He knows the value of cooperation and doesn't mind parting with some cash to keep himself and his boys out of trouble. Bars and casinos love to see him coming. He throws cash at everyone from the dancers to the dealers to the busboy. He's even popular with Frank Sinatra, a famous friend of the mafia. It seems like everyone wants a piece of Jimmy the Gent. Despite Jimmy's love for the sport of stealing, he loves making money just a bit more. The two are kind of connected to me, but anyway. So he and his old pal Remo cook up a scheme to smuggle in cigarettes from out of state, bypassing New York's taxes. He forms a bond with Tommy DeSimone and Henry Hill, and Henry Hill says they were like the Three Stooges. Whenever the trio get together, you know a big score is around the corner. Henry Hill is Jimmy's most trusted partner. Jimmy picked him up off the street when he was a teen and mentored him. And now we have a picture of Ray Liotta, who played Henry Hill in the movie, with the real Henry Hill. I'm not sure this comparison's fair. As we said, it's actors. They're going to be more attractive anyway. But somehow in the movie, Ray Liotta plays Henry Hill from the age of 21 to 50. I don't know, whatever he is at the end of the movie. It's quite a rate. I mean, De Niro too. De Niro's in his late 20s when he's at first, or he's supposed to be in his late 20s when he starts playing Jimmy. So
no, they say it's pretty funny. It's he was only 28 or 29, and they show a clearly 45-year-old man.
Yeah, exactly. It's I think De Niro was a little younger. I think a little older at that point. Yes.
Right.
So
exactly.
This picture we have of Henry Hill is clearly an older Henry Hill. And this picture we have of Ray Liotta could be any age of Henry Hill. So I just don't think we can compare them.
Right.
Yeah. We'll post this to the show notes so you can see the comparison. And then Tommy DeSimone is Jimmy's best friend. Two peas in a pod, if you ask Henry. Tommy is a cold-hearted killer. He keeps a matching set of pearl-handle pistols on him at all times. He's addicted to looking sharp and always on the hunt for women, despite having a wife. And now we have our Joe Pesci picture reveal next to a guy who does not feel Joe Pesci-like. He feels a lot, this time he looks a little more solid, bigger. He's got that great 70s mustache, too.
It is a suave look.
I know. I mean, I think a lot of our pictures are oh, that's clearly a mugshot. I don't think this is a mugshot, Tommy. This is
this is a headshot.
He went to Kohl's. He got the family plan. He got a great shot here. But the description does sound like Joe Pesci. Although I did read, and we don't really get into it later, but as violent as Joe Pesci is in the movie, the real Tommy was somehow even more violent. There's some great cameos in the movie, like Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Imperioli, and these are two characters that Joe Pesci gets to kill in the movie. And it feels like, he just kills at a moment's notice. But apparently the real Tommy really did just kill for fun and randomly all the time. It was just even worse than the Oscar-winning performance by Pesci.
Yeah, it's crazy that it was even worse. And they definitely, portray him as the violent one. I mean, Jimmy's definitely super violent and murderous, but I think they lean into more of the gent, oh, I'm gonna scheme and steal and tip you more than just bash someone's face in for no reason. I feel like they kind of split that and let Tommy be the
right
the,
for
the
characterization
crazy
point of view. It makes him more violent to not have everyone just as equally violent around him.
He's more of the wild card, the liability almost.
Yeah, it's also to a degree a way to make. I don't want to say Henry look like a good guy because he's not a good guy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I wouldn't call him a protagonist. I'm not sure there is a protagonist in this movie. But by comparison, he's not as violent, at least, as Tommy.
Yeah.
So that's
it's a
something.
lot of him reacting to the murders. Like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my impression of Goodfellas. Oh, this is crazy.
And it's like, but I feel like sometimes he's like offended because they got blood on the floor. You know, it's like, is he actually mad about Michael Imperioli character getting killed? But it wasn't like we knew that character that well at all. It's just
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Henry says that if Jimmy and Tommy were dangerous apart, they were absolutely lethal together. It didn't take anything for these guys to kill you. They liked it. They would sit around drinking booze and talk about their favorite hits. They enjoyed talking about them. So, as we said, not just a gent. Not just a gent. They proved themselves as a lethal duo in 1966 when a lifelong friend turns rat. Who could it be? Find out after the break.
And we're back. In the mid-1960s, Jimmy Burke is riding high. His gent persona makes him likable to even the cops. He's got two best friends, Henry Hill and Tommy DeSimone, and a flourishing business with his mentor, Remo. But in 1966, the FBI arrests Remo over the cigarette scheme and threatens him with life in prison unless he gives up names. Remo rats on Jimmy, but the police didn't have enough evidence to put him behind bars, which proves to be fatal. Jimmy orders Tommy to kill his friend and mentor, who does so with a piano wire. Brutal. They throw his body in the swamp next to the airport, known by the mob as the funeral parlor. Clever. I'm just going to one-word comments in everything I say. Meanwhile, the little Idlewild airport on Jimmy's doorstep is renamed JFK and becomes one of the nation's hubs for air travel, 30 billion passing through annually.
Jesse, I don't know if you know this. That's John F. Kennedy. It's who it's named after. It's a little known fact.
So, JFK and Jimmy. He's visited before, but not for travel. In 1967, he raids Air France's cargo terminal. It's not a very sophisticated heist. He and Henry Hill just walk into the cargo terminal and steal crates of cash, all exchanged by American tourists and military personnel in Southeast Asia. They stroll out with $400,000, $3.8 million today.
Wow.
A lot of money, Henry says.
That's seriously, I mean, and you do see this, that this happens in the movie. The Air France heist is a part of it. I mean, you don't see the heist, but like it comes up. At the time, I don't think I realized at all it was this much.
Yeah.
You do see the Paul Sorvino character, who we'll mention later. Like, he's clearly very happy after this, right? He gets his piece, he gets his taste, like it's all, yeah. But wow, 3.8 million is insane.
Well, it's going to get crazier. Jimmy closes the 1960s as one of the richest and most powerful mobsters in New York City, with almost a dozen men in his command. He's not a traditional mobster, though. Even though Jimmy holds a lot of power, his Irish heritage prevents him from getting made member status. Bummer, Jimmy. This is their turf. He's just an associate. He has free agent power of sorts and can bend the rules to his will. He can work with all five families and gains a strong rapport with the Lucchese family for his can't-lose attitude and his innate skill of making money.
It's so interesting that the guy is clearly so good at what he does, but because he's Irish, you know. I mean, I'm just thinking 60s and 70s is an era of civil rights, and it doesn't seem like the mobsters really, you know, opened up their family. I mean, I know, Cosa Nostra, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's all kind of silly, isn't it? Organized crime.
Mm-hmm. Wait, maybe cut that out. We don't want them hearing us say that. And then
Jesse Neiswanger whacked for saying organized crime is silly.
Yes. I don't think it's silly at all. I take it very seriously. Highly respectable. That's what I would say. Yes.
Yep. Jimmy and his buddies are aptly named the Roberts Lounge Gang. The gang of mob wannabes carry out dozens of truck hijackings together. The lounge becomes the headquarters for dirty deals and a hub for criminals. In 1971, Jimmy faces a challenge in Billy Batts, a made member of the Gambino family who comes home to Queens fresh from prison. A few days before Christmas, Billy visits the lounge and demands payment from Jimmy for working out of his territory. He's coming in hot out of prison, I guess. Mm-hmm. Billy then makes fun of Tommy's humble upbringing, specifically how he used to shine shoes on the street. Tommy leaves in a rage, but the party goes on. 2 weeks later, Tommy finds Billy in a bar and yells, okay, I should try to do my best Joe Pesci impression.
Oh, good luck, yes.
I can't do accents. I got to do it like a half an octave higher. Shine these shoes. Is that good?
I got more Jesse than I got Joe Pesci, but it's okay. It's okay.
Shine these shoes.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. You ever seen the SNL he hosted? I don't know. He may have hosted more than once.
Ooh, I don't know.
There's a great sketch where he's like trying on pinky rings in the mirror, and he's basically practicing like yelling at someone and like threatening them and stuff, and then he tries on a different one and tries it again. It's a really funny sketch.
That's funny.
Yeah, doesn't have to say anything. Just like looks at the mirror and like mouths it and stuff. It's great.
Yep. Well, after he yells that thing I yelled 3 times, Jimmy follows Tommy's lead and holds Billy down while Tommy beats him to death. Big problem. In La Cosa Nostra, you do not kill maid members without authorization. To Jimmy, that just means he has to take extra care in hiding the body. He takes Henry along to dump Billy on a friend's property. But when they open the trunk, they find a very much alive Billy thrashing around. They finish him off with a tire iron and the shovelman to bury him.
Yeah, in the movie, it's actually even more violent, right? To stab him with Tommy's mom's knife, you know?
It's very brutal.
But this is it's the beginning, the literal first shot of the movie is the 3 of them in the car, and there's like what's going on in the trunk. So that is the first 30 seconds, like you said. That is the violent part. And then
it pauses, like, let's see how we got here. But that friend soon sells his property to a developer, and Jimmy and Henry dig him up and bury him under the lounge. Billy is first of many they bury under the lounge, which is crazy. I didn't know that part. That is very like John Wayne Gacy of them.
Thank God in the movie it's only one. We only see them move Billy again, which is a disgusting scene too. Although it's also it's funny. I mean, it's a well written scene with Henry puking, not being able to take it. And Joe Pesci offers an arm or leg or a wing. He's like, "Oh, I think there's a wing down here." Dark humor. It's dark humor. That's funny.
Right. That is exactly.
Just to be clear, I don't think this is like light comedy.
Thank you. I'm just stuck on like this pile of bodies under the lounge. Like that's just like an ominous reality. It's like, oh yeah, there's a piles of bodies that we've murdered, and we're just having the best time.
Yeah. Well, they were on the friend's property. Now they have their spots, right? They have that's a real thing. But yeah, under the lounge, it's just the ghosts that haunt the place.
I know. And now I'm just thinking about like comparing mobsters to serial killers. It's like the body count can be just as high, but they're not considered serial killers, even though they are serial killers.
Because they're doing it for business reasons. Although, as we've said earlier from like Tommy and stuff, it's like, no, they just sometimes wantonly kill someone just for fun. So yeah, they're serial killers.
It's different than a hitman. That's just a job. This is kind of just for fun. Anyway, in 1975, the state nails Jimmy with extortion charges, and he's sentenced to 4 years in prison, where he will be held in Atlanta.
Woo, Atlanta. Does that make you proud, Jesse?
Woo! Oh, yeah, I'm so proud to have Jimmy in prison 50 years ago.
Well done.
Yeah,
it's the 50th anniversary of him serving 4 years in prison in Atlanta. Get a cake.
Yeah, get a cake. Okay, 19 years between prison stints isn't bad for a mobster. He's back on the streets on October 25th, 1978, but very short on money. He needs a big score. Over a Sunday dinner at the lounge, bookmaker and toupee store owner Marty Krugman raves about the score of a lifetime. He's talking millions upon millions of dollars just sitting in a storage area in JFK. So how can he be so sure? Well, an airport worker is deep in debt with him and gave this information as repayment.
Yeah, Marty is obviously in the movie, or they call it Maury. Isn't he Maury in the movie? But it's crazy he's based on a real person. I mean, that guy is such a character.
He looks very different than the real person.
Yes. It's so crazy how like synonymous Scorsese is with these stories, in that like you hear about this character and you're like, it feels like this was just made to be a movie. Like this story only existed to be a movie by Scorsese later. Like these type of characters. I mean, like there were mobster movies before.
I mean, yeah.
And obviously he didn't do Sopranos, which I think is also dives even deeper into characters like this. But it's just, wow. This toupee store owner who gives them all the info or brings them into the score at JFK is just, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's like one of the most famous movies ever, because like the perfect story aligned with the perfect director and the perfect vibe. It's just like match made in
cinematic heaven.
Cinematic heaven. All right. Lufthansa employees Louis Werner and Peter Grunwald have always wanted to steal from their employer. Lufthansa is a major German passenger and cargo airline. It has its own terminal in JFK just for cargo, specifically cash collected from tourists at currency exchanges in Germany. They draw up floor plans and copy their coworkers' schedules. In 1976, their dream becomes a reality, and they manage to take $22,000 in European currency from the cargo building. They hide the money in the garbage, then split it the next day at a gas station. Peter buries the money in his backyard while Lewis makes small transactions at foreign exchange banks. As long as it's under $500, they don't have to be reported to the Treasury. Even though everyone at Lufthansa heavily suspects Lewis, he doesn't receive any charges, and Lufthansa overlooks the allegation.
That's kind of crazy. It's like they'd still let him keep his job, you know? Did they
know.
say something to
Yeah.
him and he thread something back, or he's good at playing dumb? I don't know, but let him get away with it. Big
He got
mistake.
away with
Big
it.
mistake, Lufthansa.
Yeah. But that is a drop in the bucket compared to what they're really planning. By 1978, Peter quits, and they are no longer friends.
That's sad.
Aw.
It was a real buddy comedy there for a couple minutes.
For a couple, like for about 20
What happened to
seconds. Yeah.
Peter? I don't
What
know.
about Peter and Lewis?
Lewis aren't friends anymore?
Lewis and Peter, Lewis.
They were
Oh,
besties.
thick as thieves.
They had like the necklaces that one set, the two halves of the same necklace.
I know. Well, without Peter, Lewis cannot carry out this robbery alone because while he may have the brains to plan this operation, just one man won't be able to take down an entire airport wing. So it looks like his dream is dead until his gambling problem saves the day.
As it always does.
Love it when that works
That's
out.
gambling, it heals everything. That's what I've always said.
Yeah. Lewis is not just a pudgy cargo supervisor. He's also, quote, one of these long shot bettors who has spent the past 11 years trying to support an estranged wife, a girlfriend, a loan shark, 3 children, and a $300 a day gambling habit on a $15,000 a year salary.
Wow, that's a quote. That's a quote.
Exactly. So when he finds himself $20,000 underwater and his bookie, Marty Krugman, starts paying him visits demanding the cash or else, Lewis proposes a trade of information, something much better than $20,000. And here it is. Once a month, millions of dollars get delivered from Germany to Lufthansa's cargo hold in JFK. The cash is collected currency from American tourists, so it's untraceable. When Jimmy hears the story, he cringes. He isn't Marty Krugman's biggest fan. I mean, he calls him Bug Eyes and only knows him because he's Henry's associate. His ire stems from his suspicion that Marty is stiffing him on payments, complaining that he's too broke to keep up. But whenever Jimmy can't sleep, he turns on the TV only to find Marty's wig store commercials blaring at him. He would always tell Henry that has the money to go on television, but no money for anybody else.
I know the movie is not 100% accurate, but like the fact that that detail is actually in the movie, right? Like it's more accurate than most people think is what I'd say. I'd say there's a lot of, validity in the way they tell their story, including like Marty stiffing him, Jimmy not liking Marty, and literally seeing the commercials. Oh, the commercials are so good. The commercials in the movie are so good, though. Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah, when you first see it, you're like, what is happening?
What is this? I want to call that number. This is amazing.
But yeah, there's so much true things that happen in that movie. You're like, I cannot believe this is accurate. So he hates Marty, but the information is just too good to pass up. Plus, he needs Marty for access to his inside man. Before Jimmy can call in his troops, he needs permission from the Lucchese family, who have control of the airport. Enter Lucchese capo Paul Vario. He owns a junkyard, which he uses as a command center for hijackings, loan sharking, and fencing stolen property. He also has a short temper, allegedly beating a waiter for accidentally spilling wine on his wife's dress. That's reasonable.
Sure. So Paul Vario is played by Paul Sorvino in the movie. And actually, he's around a lot more than that seems like something that's different, right? He is a core character in the movie from when he's young, like from when Jimmy is young and when we're younger and Henry is young. So they kind of keep him along for a lot longer. But they also make him much more of like a Godfather type, right? He's not a violent guy. He's much more of he's quiet, doesn't talk to everyone. He's a good leader. He's a strong leader, which seems pretty different from the real Paul.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty different. So the meeting is pretty simple. Jimmy promises him a share of the estimated $2 million. Permission granted. Easy as that. Next, Jimmy meets with Gambino capo John Gotti for the Gambino family's blessing and for their help in the post-robbery cleanup, but with a promise of a payout, of course. He loops in Vincent Asaro, crime crew chief of the Bonanno family, and assures payment as well. The Bonannos control half of JFK. Jimmy technically doesn't have to do this, but he makes the offer as a sign of respect and to keep the peace. He doesn't need to borrow crew members. He's got the Roberts Lounge gang. Let's meet them after the break.
Welcome back, wise guys. Now that Jimmy has permission from bigwigs such as Paul Vario and John Gotti, he calls in his familiar crew of scoundrels, the Roberts Lounge Gang. Let's talk about some of those fellas, the ones we haven't talked about yet. Louis Roast Beef Cafora, Jimmy's old cellmate from prison and associate of the Lucchese crime family, a loan shark and narcotics dealer. He's a good old-fashioned stick-up man. At 300 pounds, we know where he gets his nickname from. Eats a lot of roast beef. I like roast beef. Although I'm not 300 pounds.
He goes to Arby's a lot.
Big Arby's fan. He's got the meat. That's what they used to say about Louis, even though that was not the tagline of Arby's at the time. Next, Robert Frenchie McMahon. Frenchie, not as good of a nickname as roast beef. But Frenchie works in cargo operations for Air France. Probably where he got his nickname, in JFK. He helped Jimmy on that previous Air France raid. He also runs numbers in Hell's Kitchen. Described as a small man with glasses, an overall super nerdy appearance. He spends his money on women, but not on his 2 ex-wives looking for child support. Another stand-up guy in the gang. Just a group of wonderful human beings.
Yeah, imagine like being around these dudes. It sounds insane.
That's exhausting
honestly.
too, right? Like even the movie where it's like, oh, Saturday night the copa is for the wives, but Friday night is for the mistresses. It's like, who has the energy for this? I don't know.
One word: cocaine.
Cocaine.
That's
Cocaine
how they
did
get
help.
The energy.
Cocaine did help. It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
Next, Joseph Buddha Manri, Frenchie's friend and roommate at Air France, who's just as eager to get on the action and the cash. His real last name is Manriquez, but goes by Manri, hoping he could pass as Italian. Aw. He's not called Buddha because of his Zen nature and peace. He just has a large belly. Lots of large bellies, kind of like Sopranos. Lots of large bellies in this crew.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then Tommy, we talked about Tommy earlier, DeSimone, Jimmy's best friend, as we've mentioned. He wants to get in on the Lucchese family, hoping to disprove their assumption that he's too stupid to generate a profit, because Tommy is Italian, so he actually could be made into a family. And Lucchese's and Gambinos also have their own inside men on the job. Paolo Licastri, the Gambino's inside man, his directive is to get them $200,000. He always said that he was in the air conditioning business on account of putting holes in people. That's clever, I guess.
Wow, so clever.
The darkest of jokes.
Yeah.
And then Angelo Sepe, this is Lucchese's inside man, a short guy and a lifelong criminal with 14 arrests since he was 14 years old. Jimmy personally mentored him in burglary, also has a passion for stray animals. This is so funny. That's like, sorry, I can't help laughing at the fact that he's like a good guy, maybe. Also has a passion for stray animals with his apartment full of rabbits, turtles, birds, and cats. And apparently he's not strangling them in his spare time. He actually takes care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave it to the short and not fat guy to be nice to animals.
That's right. Oh, with his 14 arrest. He's stealing animals from like bad homes. That's what all of his 14 arrests are from, rescuing animals. That's why I've heard.
Exactly.
That's not confirmed, but I've heard that.
It sounds like I'm making up a trope that fat people hate animals.
But that doesn't make sense based on The Godfather, right? Because Vito has the cat. He's stroking the cat, right? He loves his animals.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
We're gonna walk that one back. Sorry. Jimmy also assigns his son Frank to drive a backup vehicle, or the crash car in quotes. Its purpose is in that name: crash into any oncoming police vehicles. It's a way to get away with things. While Jimmy normally loves participating in a heist, he's sitting this one out, but he is going to do all the planning. Henry is by his side. They pore over the cargo warehouse floor plans together. The son of Paul Vario, the Lucchese capo, observes, making sure they won't pull a fast one on his father. Now, Jimmy sends Buddha to meet with Louis, not Louis, so the airport worker, not the roast beef, not the Arby's lover, to see if this is legit. Buddha returns saying, "It's good, it's real good." Not doing an Italian accent, but that's what he said. And he also didn't swear, so sorry, Scorsese, that quote's not in the movie. Buddha and Louis keep having their secret meetings, and Buddha relays all info back to Jimmy. When Jimmy and Henry have their plan, they call in the Roberts Lounge gang for a meeting. Lewis, as their inside man, tells them where to park and what time to enter. Go in late. There should only be a skeleton crew of 10 on shift. Strike when the crew is taking lunch, which in this case is the middle of the night because they start so late. So it's an odd time for lunch. But most importantly, don't trip the vault's alarm. If activated, the Port Authority police will have the place surrounded in under 90 seconds. There will be 2 teams. One handles the Lufthansa staff, while the other raids the cargo terminal. We have a little bit of diagram here, which we'll post the show notes of where they enter and how they get to the terminal, and it's pretty cool, actually. Although, one of the items is gang pistol whips guard who tries to stop them. So, cool until you think about the details of what they actually did. This is where we will pistol whip. Right. In Jimmy the Gent fashion, they are to handle Lufthansa staff with care, aside from the pistol whipping I just mentioned. He's been in this business long enough to know that when innocents get hurt, the police are more gung-ho on catching you. Although I would think millions of dollars is also a reason to catch you. If all goes well, they'll leave $2 million richer, which is $9.9 million in today's cash. So a real decent haul, if you will. For his help, Lewis will get a 10% cut of the $2 million or 9.9. So that's pretty darn good for Lewis. Now, all they have to do is wait for Lewis's signal. The opportunity comes quick when he alerts Marty Krugman of a massive shipment of cash coming in on Friday, December 8th. It would be hauled away by Monday morning. Lewis already thwarted the money transfer, telling the armored truck guys that an executive needed to personally approve the transfer. He definitely won't be able to hold him off on Monday. So it's now or never. And a perfect place to leave this episode behind. Can Jimmy and his ragtag team of wannabe mobsters pull off the score of a lifetime? Find out next week on Heist Club. Join us for part 2 of our first ever 2-parter.
Yeah.
Scorsese may hate Marvel movies, but we're doing a sequel anyway. Sorry, Marty. Heist Club is a production of School of Humans, hosted by me, Todd Weiser.
And me, Jesse Neiswanger. I do all the fancy audio and music editing too.
This episode was researched and produced by Carolyn Talmadge. Our senior producer is Amelia Brock.
Our production manager is Daisy Church. Our executive producers are Virginia Prescott, Brandon Barr, and Elsie Crowley.
Join us again next week for Heist Club, and don't forget to rate and review. Thanks.